as well as preparing the school, sanitizing it, and all that good stuff. And that is it, though. I do want to point out something that press release that you sent out to us that was released by the county. One comment in there that I found interesting was when they said how on social media there's reports of individuals going door to door claiming to be from the CDC. I just want to point out what they say here, that the CDC is not deploying teams of people going door to door to conduct the surveillance, so people should not be letting these individuals in their home or speak with them just in case somebody does come knocking on your door saying they're with the CDC. I thought that was an interesting line.
I'll ask the chief to put that section out on his Facebook.
They do say that the CDC has a Share the Facts, Stop the Fear page, which is a useful site determining what is facts and fiction with regard to the virus. It can be accessed at cdc.gov/coronavirus.
And on our website.
As well as our website. And that's it.
And John, they have the play, right, up at Hudson?
Yes, I mean, just to reiterate what Councilor Murphy said, tomorrow's a half day for everybody up at Hudson while staff get together to figure out what they're going to be doing in the event of a school closure in terms of online courses. I know that they're looking at Google Hangout, which most of the kids up there have, so that's a really great effective way for the classes to still be held. At this point in time, they're still having rehearsals, still forging ahead with doing Little Shop of Horrors, which is really shaping up to be something great. Tickets are on sale online. You can get them. And if there's any sort of cancellation or a push, we'll let people know. But at this point in time, that's still going to step off in March, the end of March.
Okay, thank you. Parking committee.
That's you, John.
Okay, so is Mr. Fisher there too?
He is not.
Oh, okay. So the next meeting is on the 19th. We're having 2 representatives from the County Department of Transportation to attend. I would just say to anybody listening to the meeting or is there tonight, if you have any questions or suggestions or thoughts regarding traffic patterns or parking, please go ahead and mail them to me at jcrowley@ahnj.com, and we will submit those to our county experts in advance. So we're expecting them to come back out to town, take a look around, and give us some updated thoughts on solutions to some of the issues that we face.
Okay, thank you. And now just segue into Technical Communications Committee.
No updated right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, before we go to
Sure.
public comment on the agenda, just wanted to point out, since we were talking about people coming door to door, the census is actually currently live online. And so if you want to avoid someone coming to your door, it's my 2020census.gov is live right now. I just double checked to make sure. And if they have a high enough percentage, then they will not have to deploy as many people out, which is with the coronavirus, with COVID-19. That is something that is in our communities. We can be spreading the news that, as opposed to virus, that it's currently live and you can respond right away. Try to do that and spread that information.
Thank you.
One person, a family, do it for everybody?
Well, it's a house.
Yeah.
And we really do need everyone to fill out the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important.
It's my2020census.gov.
So what's so important about it is the fact that we have qualified, I think, forever for community block money, HUD money. It helps us with the ADA Act, it helps us with roads, it helps us with other improvements to municipal buildings. 2019 was the first year we didn't qualify for community block money. And, you know, we're usually good for 150,000 and change, but it was the first year we did not have a CBDG zone. And that's because of the census. That's what they base it on. So.
Thank you. Moving on. This is public comment. Questions on agenda items only.
Hello, good evening. Thank you guys so much. Line right place?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, first of all, thank you all so much. I know it takes a great deal of effort.
Please, before we start, name and address, please.
My name is Morgan Spicer. I live at 6 Victoria Woods Drive. I'm a homeowner here. originally from Rumson. But thank you guys so much. I know it takes a great deal of selflessness to kind of to do this for our community, and I really appreciate you taking time to listen to us. I'm here to discuss Resolution 67, opposing the NESE pipeline. As a long-time New Jersey resident, I used to escape Rumson to come to Atlantic Highlands just to see the coast. I drove around with my friends as soon as we got our licenses. This is where we came, just to see Sandy Hook and the skyline and the beaches. And the only way I was able to get my New Yorker husband to agree to buy a house in New Jersey was because of C Street, which we use all the time, we love. I very much worry that this pipeline could not only destroy what is the most beautiful part of this community, but also an amazing business that helped bring us here. So I really hope that you oppose this pipeline, and that we can all do our best to prevent poisoning the air and land and water in our community. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We did this one other just not terribly long ago, so we'll redo it.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. I'm Zach Brown, also 6 Victoria Woods Drive here in Atlantic Highlands. And I would also like to speak in support of Resolution 67, opposing the NESE pipeline. I think there's a myriad of reasons why we don't need a pipeline like this, and very few reasons why it would actually benefit this borough of Atlantic Highlands. There's a lot of environmental concerns and very limited potential benefit to us.
Thank you. I just have to point out that Mr. Brown is on our first date, and that he actually was the one that came out and helped me when my mother, who has Alzheimer's, fell down the stairs. And he was very comforting, and I really thank him for being so active in the town. Thank you.
We have a great crew here. We
Yeah,
have a
we
great
do.
town.
Thanks.
Marilyn Sherfin, 55 Avenue D. I too oppose the NESE pipeline. I feel that it would disrupt all the toxins that are in the bay. We don't need it, and I oppose it.
Thank you. Yes.
Blake Deacon, 307 Ocean Boulevard. I also would like the governing body to oppose the NESE pipeline. Just one really important detail from Williams Transco's own study: it will suspend 1 million tons of toxic sediment in our waters for 3 years at a minimum. Thank you.
I also have to say that Mr. Deacon was in the Asbury Park Press. I was very impressed. He's a birder, and he has his videos online.
Yes.
Where is that?
They're on the Asbury Park Press website right now, on the Facebook page, on the Atlantic Highlands Facebook page.
Solar
I love it.
powered by solar.
Thank you. Okay then. Unfinished business?
Nothing there.
All right. The consent agenda. These items will be enacted by one motion. If detailed deliberation is desired on any item, council may remove that item from the consent agenda and consider it separately.
Mayor, I'd like to pull 67 in 2020, if that's okay.
Okay. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay.
No, you can just vote.
Okay. All right then. So, moving on. Resolution 66, 2020. Emergency temporary appropriation.
Mayor, this is just so we can continue to pay the bills.
Okay, and then we are pulling 67, 2020, opposing the Williams NESE Raritan Bay pipeline. And so, Resolution 68, 2020, transfer of funds.
Mayor, this is last year, you were allowed to transfer money from line item to line item to pay your bills through the end of March. So these are bills pending from 2019. But in order to do that, it has to be done by resolution. This covers that.
All right, thank you. Resolution 69, 2020.
So this is very happy to report this one. So this is finally awarding the contract for the Atlantic Highlands Marina facility. This is our last building in the harbor for the towboat building. We did receive 5 bids. The lowest responsive bidder was $1.26 million. The next was, and the highest was $1.7 million. So you can see the difference there. This project will be managed by Rich White from our harbor, and along with Eli Goldstein, our architect, who was the architect that did this building. So the recommendation is support on that.
Okay. And Resolution 70-2020, another payment of bills, $252,570.65.
Mayor, there was a addition, subtraction to that. Mrs. Clark, I think, put it on the dais. We had, in error, paid CME the full $12,200 to do the engineering on Grand Avenue with the ADA, and that's a pay down. It shouldn't have been done in full. It's actually a pay down, so it adjusted the numbers. That's the number, but it adjusted the numbers.
Okay. Now, do you want to include this?
No. Tonight.
I'll make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Baum.
Yes.
Mr. Barakia.
Yes.
Mr. Crowley.
Yes.
Mr. DeLoso.
Yes.
Ms. Hohenleitner.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Items on the consent agenda have passed.
Okay, back to Resolution 67-2020, opposing the Williams-Nessie Bridge and Bay flood.
Yes, Ms. Mayor, the reason I asked to pull that out, as most people know, you and I are both new to the council this year, and I know that Councilman Deloso had said this was brought up last year. I noticed it's 3 pages long. Was there other items in there that are different from last year? I know you guys all voted in favor. What has changed, if anything, to the resolution?
So this resolution is based on the fact that we're now in the, is it the fourth, I believe it's the fourth time that this has come up because there's been delays. It's gone back to the state. There's been public comment. So currently there's the new information that's here is when the public comment is this time. We're reiterating our opposition as a Bayshore town. Last time we were the last Bayshore town to approve this resolution, and a coalition led by Clean Ocean Action has asked all of the Bayshore towns to reiterate their opposition to this. In fact, they're planning to hold a press conference in Atlantic Highlands because we have the view of what would happen. And there, we're in another public comment phase that ends in June, I believe. Somebody not out there, if that's right. And frankly, it's been going on and on, but we now can be one of the first on the Bayshore to reiterate our opposition. So the changes in it are not substantive other than new dates and.
I just want to make sure that everybody knew, because there are changes I noticed, so I want to make sure that
It's just
everybody knew.
updating.
It's updated information and dates.
Who wrote this resolution?
Not me.
This was authored by Clean Ocean Action.
How do we know about it? This is just so kind of over the top. I'm not saying I'm
I
against
don't
it,
consider it
but
to be over the top, but Mr. Deacon and I.
there are a lot of things in here that I don't think there's any way to prove. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that if we have put our names on this, there should be some sites, when you have this much information about everything dying and.
So this was in the original
It's a
packet,
little-
and you hadn't asked those questions prior to. If you had asked questions.
Yeah, I did. I
prior
had
to,
to
I'm sure.
abstain because I think I have a conflict anyway, but
So that's probably a good idea then.
yeah, but I just think it's a little, I think we have to be
Since
cautious
you have that
about.
conflict, I appreciate you abstaining on it.
I would also add that we've discussed this at length in the Environmental Commission, and if Mr. Kraus is there, I think, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe we were in favor of this for the same reasons that we were the first time around. But Mr. Kraus, do you have something that you might be able to add that could be useful for maybe Councilman Brock and Bombs?
Yes, the Environmental Commission did not take a position on it last time or this time. There were members of the Environmental Commission who agree somewhat with Mr. Barakia that it's somewhat over the top in that it should be deferred to the Department of Environmental Protection in New Jersey and the Department of Environmental Protection in New York, because there could be significant reduction of air pollution in the state of New York that might be better than the temporary damage to the bay. So that's so the.
That's a position from members of the. You're saying that's a perspective of some of the members of the Environmental Commission. That's not the entire tape.
That's what the Environmental Commission where it ended up.
And as it relates to the DEP, this simply urges, and I'll just read it for the public. Be it further resolved that the Borough of Atlantic Highlands urges the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to extend the public comment period. That's one of the things they're urging, so that the DEP can hear public comment for the pending application. So that, we're not, let's see, so
Okay, no, I'm just telling you what the environmental commission didn't take a
That's
position
fair.
on this.
Right.
So that's, and what the discussion has been.
I'm just not sure what's over the top in this, but I'll let you guys have that.
Well, it's not that, it's just a lot of facts that I don't think you can prove. And I'm totally for asking the DEP to extend the comment period, to investigate it, to make sure. I'm always just cautious if you put a lot of facts that I can't prove.
The attorney, Peter Blair, that drew this up is, he's
Well, he's an
presented-
attorney, he's probably not an engineer or a scientist, that's
he's
why I guess
presented to
I'm a little
us before, and
concerned.
I think we've been pretty satisfied with his.
He's also about 20 years old, isn't he? He's kind of
Wow,
inexperienced.
that's really, really just
He is a
detailed
little.
thing. I'd like to think that.
I'm just saying, this would be
an
better
attorney,
if it was
regardless
pared
of his
down,
age,
that's
is
all,
really
a
well
little
prepared
bit.
to be able to present on
I'm
such
there yelling at me now.
an excellent.
I saw some people looking over my
I don't
direction.
think he's shady yet. He's a nice guy, but I don't think,
I think probably out for ERC.
yeah. All right.
Okay?
I'm sorry, I would just add that I felt that my recollection differs slightly from Mr. Krause's in that my recollection is that many members of the Environmental Commission were not at all happy with putting this pipeline in the bay and disturbing the marine life there and adding another piece of metal into that harbor.
I'll move this.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Bombs?
Yes.
Mr. Barakia?
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Crowley?
Yes.
Mr. Deloso?
Yes.
Ms. Hohenleitner?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Resolution 67, 2020 has passed.
Thank you. So now, ordinance 3/2020, amending chapter 139, article 2-5, parking time limit.
So Mayor, this is being done at the request of Chief Rossback regarding the parking time limited. Currently, East Washington Avenue, that's next to the school, the south side, is 10-minute parking from 8 to 4 on school days from First Avenue to Third Avenue. The chief is asking for a slight change in this, and it's East Washington Avenue, south side, 10 minutes, Monday through Friday on school days, between 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., and then again 2:30 p.m., 3:30 p.m., First Avenue to Third Avenue. That's the change. So no 10-minute parking all day, just during elementary school drop-off and pickup.
May I ask one question? Would it be possible to perhaps table this until after the parking commission meets on the 19th, and we can throw this out to our true traffic experts? I do not suspect that there's going to be any change, but I just think if we're going to follow good form, that it might be worthwhile just to get their opinion on it.
Well, you can do that.
Didn't the chief recommend this?
Yes.
Okay, the chief's recommending it.
I think the chief's recommending it, then we...
Yeah, I think we go forward with it.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Bombs?
Yes.
Mr. Barakia?
Yes.
Mr. Crowley?
No.
Mr. Deloso?
Yes.
Ms. Hohenleitner?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ordinance 3/2020 has been properly introduced. Public hearing and possible adoption on March 26th.
And I say what I said, knowing that the chief has been out at pickup, at drop-off on a regular basis.
Oh, there's 20 or 30 emails over this.
Right, I know.
And Dr.
I've
Compton's on board.
Right.
Principal, I might pronounce it wrong,
Skavinsky.
Skavinsky is on board. Instead of parking throughout the whole day, this is just during drop-off and pickup. So that's why he's requesting.
Yeah, and Mr. Crowley, your team will be able to meet before the final, this is just the first reading, so if there's further input, that can come to the council on the 26th.
Thank you. I have no doubt that what Chief's intentions are. I just feel that we've got a commission and we should do the format and run it through them, but I understand this is first reading. Thank you.
All right. Now, public comment.
Please just state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Crowley.
Yes, Jim Crown, 77 Bayside Drive. I just want to keep the governing body informed about what's happening out at Fort Hancock on Sandy Hook. I'm a member of the Federal Advisory Committee. After 7 years of unsuccessfully finding finding people who want to rehabilitate the Officers Row homes, other than the one home that's is much younger and is a duplex that was actually renovated and is now operating as a bed and breakfast by one of Atlantic Highlands residents. The other 15 houses that are in need of rehabilitation that could be anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million each. A developer from New York who has done historic preservation and rehabilitation has put forward a proposal to do all 15 of those buildings and the 6 barracks buildings and auxiliary buildings that are not currently under lease. There are 3 currently under lease, and the county has 2 under a letter of intent, and there are a couple of others under a letter of intent. This looks like a great opportunity. The committee's been around since 2013, so 7 years not being successful finding somebody. One of the big reasons is the historic preservation issue, that to have somebody who comes in who can do 15 with one plan. They're planning on putting 5 apartments in each building for year-round residents of the barracks and auxiliary buildings. They're going to have they're planning on they call it a bodega, a small supermarket, an events building, and also one that they'll have residents in. Great opportunity. We're hoping it goes through. Some of you remember even before 2013 there was a period when the park tried to do this with a developer who was not well financed. Evidently this developer is very well financed. The one downside of this is that our Congressman Pallone, has objected, saying he does not think year-round residence is a good thing for Sandy Hook. The committee thinks that this is the only way to salvage those buildings, that seasonal rentals will not provide the revenue to support the development. So the committee's actually, and the park is actually in discussions with the congressman to try to get him to change his mind. So I've actually been designated to talk to Regina Hawley to see if we can get an inside track. Lucky you. So if anybody has any questions about details, you can talk to me after the meeting.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Young man in the back.
Red Brass, 49 8th Avenue. I don't know, I came in late, of course. I don't know whether, I'm sure Roy gave a report, but I just want to let you know, as a resident of town, I happen to be a fireman too, but anyway, my part is nothing compared to the kids that did a good job. And that fire that we had on 2nd Avenue and Ocean Boulevard, believe me, and Mayor, I know you were there the whole time. I was there the whole time too, but I'm directing traffic, not doing a real important job. But the young men that went into that fire and put it out so fast, they were there in 6 minutes from the fire call.
It was unbelievable.
Pardon me?
It was unbelievable.
It was, if that would have happened in the middle of the night, we would have had some dead people. I'd bet money on it. But they put it out so fast. It was just minutes after they got there on the radio, when I was directing traffic, I heard that they had it quelled. They had it knocked down. Now, of course, we were there for a couple hours because there was investigations and stuff. But that apartment, if you ever see the pictures of it, I don't know whether Roy showed them, but the pictures, it was entirely gutted out. And unfortunately, 2 cats died, in the apartment. But they had a situation where when they opened the door, they had almost like a backdraft. Remember the movie? Same idea. It just flamed up all over. So these guys did some job, and I know that Cody Burbank was pulling down some of the ceiling, and when he did, the whole section fell on him. But these guys are, we're so lucky to have these volunteers. And the police department did a wonderful job because they were knocking down doors and getting in to get everybody out because they weren't sure who was in the building and who wasn't. There was a lot of smoke and a major fire. And as I said, I'm very proud as a citizen with our fire department and our police department. And I would hope, and we had backup with multiple towns. You know, we had Kingsburg, Highlands, Seabright, Middletown sent about 3 vehicles. I would hope, please, Mayor, that you write some kind of letter of thanks for their support to us, you know, coming from the mayor and council, and some kind of letter, you know, to the fire department, just tell them what a job they did. Really a great job.
Fred, I did bring a lot of it up, but the one thing that still amazes me, and I'm in the fire department also, is 6 minutes.
Yep.
That call goes out. We don't have people sitting at the fire.
And that was in the middle of the day, Roy.
Right.
At 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon, which guys are working.
Right. So wherever they were at, they had to drop what they were doing, get in the car, come to the fire department, get their suits on, get in the truck, and then drive the truck down. You know?
Yeah.
I'm lucky to leave the house
Well,
with 6 minutes.
luckily, several of the young kids, or I call them kids because I'm old, but some of the young kids that got there were there so fast, and one guy in particular, and it was Tommy. Tommy ended up pulling the hose off the truck, and it was a charged hose by the time that the Burbanks got there and went into the building. Also, the chief, the deputy chief, who was Scotty Burbank, Cody's father. But he did a great job because he called for backup so quickly. We had so many rigs there. We had like 3 or 4 ladders. Unfortunately, our ladder truck, we band-aided over the years and is dead right at this point in time.
We spoke about that.
Pardon?
We spoke about that too.
Yeah. But we got so much support from surrounding towns, so I would just ask Mayor that maybe draft a letter, or Adam can draft a letter of thanks to the fire department, the police department, and the surrounding towns that backed us up. Thank you.
Mayor Russ, I'm sorry I was hoping you also, thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for that, but I was hoping you also were going to talk to us about what your business is doing to help eliminate the transmission.
That's not important. I'm just doing what's right, that's all.
So if anyone is not aware, the movie theater has put restrictions on the number of folks so they're staying open, so there's something for people to do right now if they're home. They've made restrictions on the number of people that will be in the theater. So just for other businesses or people who aren't aware, because he's modest and isn't reporting on that. That's one of the things that one of our local businesses has done to try to eliminate the transmission of the virus.
We're hoping we can stay open. Right now, it's shady.
So are we.
Yep.
And Fred B, then you don't think that's important. What is important is recruitment, right, for the fire department. And I don't see a better, I said what is important is recruitment
Yes.
for the fire department. And I don't see a better time than to bring this up right now.
100%.
How would we get some young volunteers to jump out and
Well,
enjoy the
typically, I mean, I joined the fire department when I was 18 because my father was a fireman, and most of the kids, most of the young guys that are there, their fathers, their grandfathers, were in the fire department. So we have to, I guess what would be good, we have some signs that we've been putting up around our houses that say we're looking for people in the fire department. I'm not really sure exactly how to get more people. And it's not the young kids, because the young kids, there's a lot of young kids there whose fathers and grandfathers were firemen. The problem is the people that are like in their mid-30s up to like 40 or 45 that don't want to put extra service into the town. I mean, you look at first aid squads, fire department, volunteers. It doesn't encompass that group, and it's a shame. It really is.
So here's what's happening. I went through the fire academy in 1979, and I went through for 40 hours. I was a fire chief where I grew up for 4 years. I'm a former fire chief here from 99 to 2002. And Fred's right. It's usually your dad, then this one and that one. I'm on the fire department. My son's on the fire department. My brother and his son are on the fire department. My wife's been on the ladies auxiliary for 22 years. That's usually what it is. But now the training is like 240 hours. So when you have to go to a night class and then a Saturday and a Sunday, or If you go, that's Monmouth County. Or if you go to Middletown, you have to do a night class and a Saturday for 22 weeks. That's the tough part. And you can pick Saturday or a Sunday, but then it's always a Sunday or always a Saturday. So it's really the training.
And there's nothing we could do to try and alleviate that
Nothing.
training?
It's all state mandated.
Or accommodate,
And
I should say.
I think the mayor said Mr. Brown was on the first aid squad. It's the same thing with EMT. All three of my kids, my two daughters and my son, are EMTs on the first aid squad. 240 hours? It's 240 hours for EMT. So the state is making it, back in the day, the rumor was the state's going to make it where every municipality has to have a paid staff. No more volunteers.
And I think that's what their intent is.
Well, it could
Is that
be.
why the training is so hard, rigorous and so hard?
I'm not going to say that that's the reason, but I can tell you that we've been up to the high school. We've talked to the guidance counselors. We actually have a cadet program here. You can join at 15. They lowered the age. You can join at 15. You can't go through the fire academy till you're 18. But same thing with the cadets on the EMS squad. You can join at 16. You can ride the rig. You can drive the fire truck. You can't go into the hot zone. So all of the recruitment, the signs that are out now, it's on the website, the application. You get into the Firemen's Relief Association. God forbid there's some death benefits there, but you don't join for that. You can join for LOSAP. We have a length of service awards program where it's like a 401k. If you make a certain amount of points, you can get $1,100 a year. All that adds up. So the benefits are there. I tried many years ago, not with this governing body, but with a different administration. Maybe you let firefighters, I'm not sure if it's going to work, you give them building permits for no charge, or you give them a dog or a cat license for no, I don't know. But there's got to be something. But it's not that way of the volunteers anymore. That's really what it is. A lot of people in this community don't know that our fire and EMS are volunteers. They think they're paid, and they sleep at the firehouse.
That's right. And we couldn't afford it as taxpayers to have paid police and fire. I'm sorry, not police. We do have paid police. Fire and EMS. We could not afford it. So, the key thing that really should be is a sense of responsibility to support the town you live in, that your family's in. But it's not, the message isn't getting to that 30 to 45 old people.
Fortunately,
the ones that are there are the
Mr. Brown,
little kids.
What would you say about this? Because I know that you're probably in that age.
I am, and I am not currently an EMT, but I have gone through the EMT training, and it is rigorous, and it is involved. And I think there are reasons beyond whatever, political, financial motivations why those courses are so intensive. I think there's a lot more information that we have now than we used to have, and there's a higher level of care that, at least, I can't really speak to the fire side, but on that side. And in terms of incentives, if you're not going to offer a salary, which is obviously not really, that's not volunteer and may not even be feasible, the LOSAP program and maybe waiving fees for other things, those are nice, but I don't think those are really going to motivate people to go through hundreds of hours of classwork and training and then put their lives on the line to be willing to run into a burning building. I think it has to be more finding the people who have that desire to help their communities and just fostering that interest. So maybe some recruitment programs at the local schools, talking to people who may have firefighters or EMS workers in their families. They understand the value of giving back to their community, and just doing our best to recruit them and trying to get them into those training programs.
Well, fortunately, we have a resident in the crowd who is recording and actually live streaming the meeting. Right? So letting others hear this message is important. So a great message to deliver. Thank you, Fred.
Absolutely.
Just one more thing is that if possibly, right now, full-time firemen, full-time police officers are paid fairly well, and it's a good job. Maybe part of the recruitment in the schools would be come and be a volunteer fireman or a first aidman and then learn some of the skills, and then you make your decision in life if you want to apply. Certainly, if I was a chief of police, I would be very happy to have a young kid that was a police cadet. Or I'd be very happy if I was the head of a paid fire department to hire a kid that spent 2 or 3 years volunteering for his town. The key thing is, it's for our town, our families. You know, it's either going to be my wife or your wife or your children that are going to be in jeopardy. But it's just the praise, people really have to understand how good they are. We've really got a good crew, and we're very lucky. We pay high taxes, but who cares? I mean, we live in a good community. Thanks.
Thank you.
Marilyn Sherman, 55 Avenue D. Thank you, governing body, for passing Resolution 67. Really important. We don't need another fossil fuel project, especially in our bay, our wonderful bay. And I also want to thank Mr. Doherty for his service and recognize his wonderful time in our town for all those years.
We need to go in executive session.
Yep. So, no further, and motion second for executive session.
So moved.
Okay. And roll call.
I think you do all of this.
Okay, all in favor?
And then Jason.
Okay, it's 8:00.
Whereas the Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, whereas the public body believes that circumstances presently, whereas the governing body wishes to discuss personnel, police and sanitation department, and other resources, minutes will be kept in this matter involving confidentiality above and beyond required